How about now? Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. All right, so it looks like we've got sound now. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning. So today's class is a senior spring boot camp class, and everything that's in the booklet I'm not going to be talking about. Please review the booklet, and some of the professors that you talk to, they're going to say, they're going to lecture, and then they're going to say, go read chapters 1 through 5 or something like that. So that's your first taste of college. Don't be alarmed. Take a deep breath. It's all going to work out in the end. So let's talk about your timeline. Your timeline, all of your applications should be submitted. If you haven't checked the status of your applications, please do that now. Verify that the college has your test scores, your transcripts, any fees that are applicable, any recommendation letters, supplemental forms, or anything else. We want to make sure that the college has everything to make an admission decision and then also to make a financial aid decision as well. I want to tell you a story about Ian, who got into a prestigious college in Chicago. Got an initial letter from them in December. Congratulations, you've got a spot on the freshman roster. We just need a few things. And one of those things that college was asking for, and this is going to be true for all of you as well, is going to be your final transcripts. And final transcripts will be sent out in June after you graduate high school. That was one thing that was outstanding. Okay, we know that. The other thing that was outstanding was a recommendation letter. We don't have your recommendation letters. Please send that in. He went and he talked to his teacher. Teacher said, yes, I'll go ahead and write you a rec letter. And then the teacher promptly and immediately forgot. And Ian never followed up. Flash forward a couple months. We're now sitting in March. And Ian gets a second letter from the college. And the letter read something like this. Too bad, so sad. You ain't coming here because we never got a recommendation letter. That could have been alleviated by simply following up. And the theme is trust but verify. We want to trust that the college received everything. We also want to verify by reaching out to the college and finding that out. So call your recruiter or your contact, or you can log on to your college account and check your status that way and verify that they do have everything. If something is missing, then please supply that to the college as soon as possible. If you applied on the Common App, you can log on to the Common App and you can see that there are things that are completed, or if something is outstanding or missing, you want to supply that. Don't believe and trust Common App 100% because we want to verify that the college has received all that information as well. Do you have any new accolades? So you've already applied to colleges, and hopefully some of you have some new accolades. We want to send them an email or a letter and just give them a brief little outline of whatever it is that you've accomplished. Maybe you were promoted at your job, or maybe you made team captain, or you won the speech competition. Maybe some of you are in robotics and you're going to go to nationals. Whatever it is that the new accolade that you have achieved, we want to let the college know that information. And the reason why I want to let them know is because we want to let them know that we don't have senioritis. Okay? You only have just a couple more months of school left, so please maintain your grades. I'll tell you another story about Ethan. And Ethan was admitted to the University of Arizona, got a really nice scholarship package. Then, and that scholarship package was based off of his freshman, sophomore, junior year grades and his test scores. In his senior year, he got a terminal case of senioritis. Grades plummeted. When he sent in his final transcripts in June, they rescinded all of his scholarships. You want to come here? It's going to now cost $28,000 a year. Mom and Dad not happy on that one. That's just, go to class, turn in your homework, and all that stuff. There's just a couple more months left. Worst case scenario is they could rescind the seat. sorry, you're not even coming to our school. I had a girl who went to a school in San Diego, and I love San Diego. The beaches are wonderful and beautiful and all that. She was recruited as an athlete for crew, and because it's San Diego, she went to the beach often, too much, too many, and started missing practice, and then she also started skipping class. At the end of that year, they said, bye-bye, you're not coming here next year. And she lost all of her academic scholarships, and she lost her athletic scholarship as well. So that's the worst case scenario, is they could revoke and rescind your freshman seat. Another way that they could revoke your seat is if you are arrested with felony charges. Please don't do anything stupid, okay? Don't waste a good scholarship package on being lazy. Don't waste a good scholarship package on getting arrested. One other thing that you need to be aware of with each college that you're looking at, and ultimately the college that you're going to choose, you want to find out what the renewal criteria is to get that scholarship the next year. At ASU, it's 3.0. So you have to have a 3.0 at the end of your freshman year to renew your scholarship package for the sophomore year, et cetera, et cetera. I had a student who finished up his freshman year with a 2.95 GPA, lost his scholarship. That's just paying attention right there, making sure you fill out that one extra homework assignment and that. Moving on with our timeline, March is when acceptance letters are sent out. So if you have not received an acceptance letter, congratulations, you've got a spot on the freshman roster. Don't worry about it, but do double check and make sure that the college has everything for them to make an admission and a financial aid decision. If there's something outstanding or missing, that could hold up the acceptance letter being sent out. Some colleges wait until the very last moment to send out acceptance letters. I think it was Pepperdine, or maybe it was USC, or maybe it was both of them. They send out acceptance letters April 1st. Okay, so if you don't hear anything or haven't heard anything, don't freak out too terribly much, but do double check with that. And the acceptance letter is different than the award letter. The acceptance letter is going to say, congratulations, you've got a spot. And sometimes the acceptance letter will spell out, we're giving you, $5,000 or $3,000 in scholarships or something. Or sometimes they don't list anything on there. Whether there's any numbers on the acceptance letter or not is irrelevant. What's more relevant is going to be the award letter. The award letter is the invoice. That's going to be and spell out exactly everything that they're offering, how much they're offering in scholarships, grants, loans, work study, anything else. And we're going to dissect the award letter in a moment. May 1st is decision day. Typically on or before May 1st is when the student selects which college he or she's going to go to. At that point, you'll mail in your deposit. Some colleges, for example, U of A, they tend to be a little bit pushy and try and get students to make a hasty decision with and sending out the acceptance letter that says, congratulations, you got a spot on the freshman roster. We're giving you $2,500 in Wildcat scholarships, and we cannot guarantee a dorm spot, so you need to mail in your deposit right now. And I haven't had anybody that went to U of A not get into the dorms. Okay, had a student who mailed in his check, and it must have got there on a Friday at 5 o'clock because the guy stuck it in the drawer. And then JJ and his family promptly went out of town on a vacation and called me back in July. I don't have my dorm room, I don't have my class schedule, I don't have anything. What's going on? I don't know. Call him up and find out. And he called him up and they're like, well, we never received your deposit. I'm like, oh yeah, we mailed that way back in May. And the guy goes, oops, sorry, I found it in my drawer. and that. Anyway, long story short, JJ did get his class, all his classes, and he did get into a dorm. He didn't get into the dorm he wanted, but he got into a dorm. Then in January, he reapplied and got into the dorm that he wanted to get into. Okay. So sometimes colleges will try and push you to make a hasty decision before May 1st. If they do, call them up or send them an email and say, hey, I don't have all my information from you or the other colleges yet to make a decision. I would like an extension until May 1st. And by law, they must allow you that extension. Okay. And please do not accept any college until after you've received all of your award letters. So you're going to send in your acceptance and deposit into one college. For the remaining colleges that you've been admitted to, we're going to do nothing. So sometimes the smart thing is to do nothing. So for the other colleges, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to accept. We're not going to decline. We're just going to leave it open. And what will happen is for some of those colleges in mid to late May or maybe even June, you'll get a call back or an email or a letter or something from the college that says, hey, we haven't heard back from you as to an admission decision. Do you want to come? Do you not want to come? And oh, by the way, we're going to sweeten the pot and give you a couple extra bucks. Okay? And at that point, you have two options. The first option is to go to the new school and accept those extra dollars that they're going to give you. The second option is to stay at your existing college and then take that new award letter and go, hey, they just gave me an extra $3,000 or whatever. What can you guys do? Okay, so we're going to play that game this year, and for some of those colleges, they will reach out and offer some additional aid. And if you accept at the new college, then you will potentially lose your deposit at the other school. But if the deposit is only $300 or $400 and the other college is going to give you $4,000 or $5,000 more per year, it's probably prudent to do it. Then in June, send in your and request your final transcripts to be sent to the college. So I want to tell you another story. Blake asked his high school counselor and said, hey, I got admitted to this college. Can you please send in my final transcripts? And the counselor said, sure, no problem, and did. And then Blake and his family promptly went out of town, went to Greece, and had a great time. Flash forward, Blake is now moving into his dorm room, and he gets a call into the financial aid office and the admissions office. And they're like, you're officially not enrolled in our school because we don't see that you've graduated from high school yet. It's like, what do you mean? Well, we don't have your final transcripts. It's like, I don't know what happened. Called up his counselor, found out that the counselor did send the transcripts to the wrong school. Okay? Remember, trust but verify? We want to trust that the counselor sent it, but we want to verify that that college did receive it. It was a big headache, but it all got corrected. That headache could have been alleviated by following up with the college to make sure that they did get that transcript. Then in July, remember your parents. Spend some time with your parents. Start packing. If you're an athlete, for some of the athletes, the coach is going to ask you to come to school early, and it could be in July as you start practicing and all that stuff. But do remember your parents. They've raised you for the last 18 years, so do something with them. Go out to dinner, talk with them, go for a walk or swim, or do something. Then August, September, we're going to head out to college. And at that point, plan to follow up with the financial aid department. So when you go to college, that first week that you're there, I want you to put in your mind that I'm going to go into the financial aid office sometime that first week. So write that down. I will go into the financial aid office my first week of school. The reason why we want to do that is because we want to ask them if there's any extra money. and sometimes there is. When what happens every year is there will be a handful of students who apply to the college, get admitted, mail in their deposit, sign up for classes, get a dorm, all that stuff, and then never show up for whatever reason. And for some of those students, there's money attached to that student. And that money comes back to the college, and some of that money is mandated that it must be spent. And if we walk in at the right time, timing is everything. If we walk in at the right time, we can ask for some more money, and we could potentially get it. You won't get it if you don't ask. So we're going to finalize our college selection. We want to review all the data from the award letter. Please do not buy a college unseen. A lot of students fall in love with a college brochure, and I want to tell you that every photo on every brochure and every website, every one of them has been photoshopped. Okay? So too many times students fall in love with the brochure. Please visit the college. For some colleges, they're going to send out a notification that we are having a Spirit Day or something like that, and they'll invite you to come to the campus. If that's an option, please do that. Okay. Spring break is also a great time to visit the colleges because the high school spring break and the college spring break usually don't coincide. Another way that you can finalize your college selection is to check the crime stats. In the back of your booklet are a list of different websites and all that stuff. So every website that I mentioned is going to be in the back of the book. And this one, nces.ed.gov/college navigator, you can click on that link and then type in the name of any college in there, and it'll bring you to that page. You can scroll down a little bit to the campus security section, and you can review that data. I want to tell you that every college that you go to, there's crimes on every campus. The reason why I want you to check this out is I want you to be aware and I want you to be safe. I'm not really too terribly concerned about the petty crimes, little theft things that happen. That's going to happen at every campus. When my brother was in college, he was at Gallaudet University in the DC area, and it's cold and snowy, and he had his nice leather jacket on. He went into the cafeteria, got his food, and sat down at the table, took his jacket off, and about halfway through the meal, he got up to go get another drink and came back, and his jacket had walked away. Okay, so stuff like that's gonna happen. You know, if you turn your eyes away from your phone or your laptop or something like that, that stuff's going to walk away. Just be aware of that. Be cautious about that. What I'm more concerned about is the more heinous crimes, rape and arson and things like that. I want you to be aware of those things. So if you look at the crime stats at ASU, it's pretty bad. I'm okay with you guys going to ASU. I just want you to be aware of that. And anytime you go anywhere, always go in a group and make sure it's a group of people that you know. Okay? Another great website is this one, american-school-search.com/safety. And with this one, it's the same thing. You type in the name of the college, and it'll give you a grade, A, B, C, D, B+, D-, etc. So it's a quick snapshot, easy way to identify the crime stats at a particular college. You can check out both of those websites on that. So the award letter. Let's talk about the award letter and what's in it. The award letter will be delivered to your home at various different times. The acceptance letter and the award letter come out at 2 different times. The award letter typically arrives after we've submitted all the financial aid forms, which we've done already, And that award letter can come January literally through June. Usually it comes out March, April-ish. And that if it's a rolling admission school, then most of those colleges have already started sending out the award letters. So the rolling admission schools are going to be ASU, NAU, and U of A here in state in Arizona. If you haven't received an acceptance or an award letter from those schools and you've applied several months ago, go online and check the status. Make sure that they have everything. So here's the elements, or here's what an award letter is going to look like. And here are the elements of the award letter. It's going to have scholarships, grants, student loan, work study, and parent plus zone. So let's dissect it. So the first two, scholarships and grants, we want that, and we want lots of that. That's the free money that you get that will reduce your college bill. Think of it as a really big coupon, okay? Then the next thing that is going to be offered is student loans. And the maximum amount of student loans, federal student loans, that a student's going to be offered is $5,500. The sophomore year it goes up a little bit, about $6,000, and then the junior and senior year it goes up a little bit more, and it tops out at about $7,500. Okay, so if you add those all together, it's about $25,000 to $26,000 is the maximum amount of federal student loans that a student will be offered. So when you see these students and these articles about students who have graduated with $100,000, $200,000 in student loan debt, other than being overachievers, how did they do that? And they did that by co-signing. And for students in here, here's what a co-signer is. A co-signer is someone who will sign the loan on your behalf, which means that if you don't pay, the co-signer will pay the loan, okay? And typically it's a parent or a relative or somebody like that that would co-sign, okay? So the maximum amount of federal student loans is $5,500, and it will be offered in one or two formats. It'll be offered in a subsidized or an unsubsidized loan. Both of those loans, both of those student loans, are deferred as long as you remain a student in college. So if a student drops below part-time status, then the college will notify the loan company, and that student will get a letter within 30 days that says, we want you to make our first loan payment. Okay? If you remain in college as a full-time student, then you are not required to make a payment. Typically, the way these are structured is they're structured at 4.5 years. So what that means is you graduate in 4 years, and then take 6 months to graduate, 6 months to land a job, and then your first payment is due. Okay, that's typically how it's structured. Now, with the two loans, the subsidized and the unsubsidized, both of those are deferred. You don't have to make payments during the college years. The subsidized, no interest will accumulate during the deferral period. So if you are offered a $2,000 subsidized federal student loan, at year 4.5, the amount that would be due is $2,000. So if you, at that point, if you have $2,000, you'd write them a check and boom, you're done. If you didn't have the full amount, then you would start making payments after that. And then interest will start to accumulate at that point. The unsubsidized, during the deferral period, interest will accumulate. So if you have a $2,000 unsubsidized loan, at year 4.5, it'll be $2,000 plus whatever the interest that they charge over that time frame is. Okay? And I can't tell you what the interest rate is because I don't know what it is. The reason why I don't know what it is because Congress votes as to what the interest rate is going to be every July. Now that you're aware of this, you're going to hear the media go into their feeding frenzy in June. There'll be also all kinds of articles and news reports on how student loan rates, interest rates could double. Currently, the interest rate on student loans is about 5.5%, and the parent loan is about 6.5%. So if those loans went from 6 to 12%, there would be riots. Okay, so the likelihood of them doubling, I mean, this is all news sensationalism and stuff. I've been tracking this now for the last 11 years, and anytime there is a move, it's incremental. So if it's currently 6.5%, it might go to 6.75. It might stay at 6.5, or it might go to 6.25. So not a huge swing on that. Okay, so subsidize. If you are offered a subsidized loan and you have the money to just pay for it, please take the loan, because that's free money. Keep that $2,000 in a checking account. Even at 1% interest over 4 years, you're going to be better off than just paying college. Okay.
JD, are you moving on to the next?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about it. So, what they offer you in your award letter, is that based on your FAFSA? If you didn't fill out a FAFSA, would they not be doing that?
Right. If you did not fill out a FAFSA, then that student will not be offered any federal loans.
Okay, so it's based on that. And then when they say what they're giving, I know you said it changes, the amount, potential changes each year, but are they, whatever number they put on your award letter, is that usually just for the freshman year?
Yes.
You might not get it,
Well, whatever the student is offered on their freshman award letter, they'll probably get that the next year if everything is the same.
Okay.
And as long as they maintain the minimum GPA in order to renew that whole package. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. The next thing that you as a student will be offered is the option to accept work study. So for the student loans, you can accept or decline those. For the scholarships and the grants, you can also accept or decline those. Please don't decline scholarships and grants. Work study, you can also accept or decline. And work study is where you work for the college or one of the college entities and you get a paycheck. They know that you're a student. They're not going to work you 40, 50 hours a week. It's usually just a few hours a week, maybe 6 hours or something like that, maybe 8 hours. You can knock that out in a weekend. 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday in the library. Boom, you got your 8 hours. Okay. There are a variety of different types of work study jobs that are available. And with my 3 kids, the fall freshman semester, they declined the work study. Because we're not sure if we're going to have time, we're in a whole new environment, blah, 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 all that stuff. Then the spring semester of their freshman year, they realized, you know what, I got all this free time, might as well be doing something, making a couple bucks. And then they opted for that. My oldest daughter, she had a work study job, and it was campus security. And she had the sweet hours, the 11 p.m. to the 3 a.m. shift. My middle daughter, she was in class with a professor, and the professor said, hey, could you stay after class for just a couple minutes? I want to talk to you. She did, and he said, I'm going to be putting a work study job up in a couple days. I want you to apply for it today, and then I'll give it to you. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to keep your eyes and your ears open for stuff like that. There are several places that you can look for a work study job. One of the best places to look is in the financial aid department. Because if you're in the financial aid department and a scholarship comes across that you could apply for next year, hey, you could get that extra bucks the next year. Or if you're looking at some stuff and you notice that a scholarship was not claimed, you could also ask for that. Hey, this money, no one is taking this money, could I have it? So the financial aid department is one place to look for a work study job. The next best place to look for a work study job is in your major, whatever your major is. If you're a business major, then look in the business department for a work study job. If you are an engineering major, then look for a work study job in the engineering department so that you can put that on your resume when you apply for a job later on. Okay? I just said that. One other place that you can consider is in helping is as a lab assistant. Even if you are not a biology or a chemistry major, you may want to still look into it and see if there's any lab assistant positions available. Because it might be cool to get paid $1,000 or $2,000 to mix some chemicals and blow some stuff up. Okay? There's been all kinds of different rumors out there that I've heard that if you decline student loans your freshman year, you'll never get them. If you decline work study your freshman year, you'll never get it the rest of your years in college. Those are not true. Okay? Because circumstances change, and maybe the freshman year we don't want it or don't need it, and then maybe the sophomore or the junior year we do want and we do need it. So that it will be offered every year. The last thing that is offered on the award letter is the Parent Plus loan. Okay? The federal student loans, as a student, if you accept those students, you are liable to pay it back. Parents, if you choose to help your student pay back the student loan, that is your prerogative, not your obligation. With the Parent Plus loans, it's reversed. As a parent, if you accept those, then parents are responsible to pay them back, and the student is not responsible to pay it back. If you choose to help, that is your prerogative, not your obligation. So I want to tell you a story about Zach. He graduated a few years ago, and while he was in college, his parents took out some plus loans. And after he graduated, 2 years later, he ended up landing the job that he needed and was starting to make some really good, serious money. And once that happened, he called his mom up and said, "Hey, I'm going to help you, pay down the Parent Plus loan." Okay, so that is your prerogative, not your obligation. Now you're asking me the question: how come it took him 2 years before he landed his job? It's because he's a commercial pilot. He needed the hours before that happened. Okay. So I've got a warning on loans, the federal loans, the federal student loan, and the federal parent loan. Because they are federal loans and federally backed, it is near impossible to get those written off in bankruptcy court. So they must be paid off. The absolute worst thing that any student can do is to ignore student loans. There was an article that I came across, and two of them, in fact, one of them, the student had accumulated $450,000 in student loan debt. And another student had $600,000, over $500,000 in student loan debt. How did they do that? Well, they financed their undergrad. They also financed their grad program, and then they neglected to make payments. And because they neglected to make payments, the penalties and the interest all kind of skyrocketed in that. So please don't ignore it. The loan companies are there to help you. If you do have any issues or anything like that, please reach out to them. They will work with you. The late charges and the penalties that add up are very, very steep. After you receive all of your acceptance and all of your award letters, then review them. So show me the money. Once you get your award letters and you determine which college you're going to choose, then we're going to determine whether or not we should appeal or not with the college. There are reasons to appeal. One reason is, or several reasons that I have here on the screen, is we've got a job change or layoff, decrease in income, excessive medical bills, divorce and death in the family, or other financial factors that are not reported on the FAFSA or the CSS profile. Those are some reasons to appeal and to negotiate with a college. Another reason to appeal is you got a better offer from another school. Hey, they gave me this. Can you match or beat it or what? Okay. When we choose to appeal, we're not going to appeal with every college. We're going to choose our top school. And when you do appeal, we want to make sure that we're talking to a key decision maker. If and when you call the college, the very first person that you speak to on the phone is always a student. They are given very direct instructions, and the instructions are, if anybody calls, the answer is no. Okay? We want to get past that person to a key decision maker, to someone who can make some financial decisions. We want to be courteous and polite. That's kind of a no-brainer. And then if we have the option to talk to them face-to-face, that's the best. Especially if you can walk into the office, or just before you walk into the office, you squeeze a couple lemons in your eyes or something like that. When you talk to them face-to-face, it's a lot harder for them to say no when you're sitting right across their desk. Okay? If you can't meet them in person, we want to send them a FedEx letter outlining everything. I have a template that I can give you at a later point if we're going to send out an appeal letter. And I'll show you what that template looks like. The reason why I say send it FedEx is because if someone receives an email or a fax, those carry no value, because we get thousands of emails a day and faxes. Does anybody fax anymore? But when you get a FedEx letter, that has value, and that. So after we've reviewed the award letter, if the award letter is great, then there's no reason to appeal. Okay. One thing that can hold up your award letter is if the student is selected for verification or is selected for review. What that simply means is that the IRS has mandated that every college must audit 25% of all the financial aid forms. And they will randomly pick 25% of the students, send out a notification that says, you've been selected for review, for verification. We want to verify that the information that you put on the FAFSA is correct. NAU has a verification form, and they call it the blue form. If you got that, let me know. Or if any other college is asking you for verification or for any information like that, please let me know. I'll walk you through what you need to do and stuff. When we filled out the FAFSA, for most of you, we use the IRS data retrieval tool. And what that does is we log onto the FAFSA, click on connect, and it will go to the IRS's website, and it'll grab all your information, put it on the student's FAFSA with an IRS timestamp on it. Colleges want that. They'd rather have that than to have hard copies of your taxes and all that stuff. For some of you, we weren't able to use the data retrieval tool for whatever reason. If the college has selected your student for review and we were unable to use the data retrieval tool, then you will need to supply them with a copy of your taxes. Okay? If you're selected for review and we did use a data retrieval tool, most likely they're going to say, we don't need a copy of your taxes, we just want some other information. Whatever information that they're asking for, we want to give them that information. And then send the college only what they are requesting. If the college did not notify you and say you were selected for review, then do nothing. If they did, then we want to supply them with whatever it is that they're asking for. So you can go to your student portal, for your college student portal, check your status on there. It'll state on there that you have been selected for review. These are the documents that we want. And if that's the case, provide them with that information. Wait for it. Beware of senioritis. It's important. That's why I'm saying it again. We want to make sure that you're maintaining your grades. Again, we only have just a couple more months of school and you'll be done. Keep your grades up, please. Visit some colleges. So you may be invited to come out and visit a college sometime in the spring, and they call it Senior High School Day, or they call it Future Student Day, or Spirit Day, or one of 100 other definitions and topics. Don't really care what the title is. What I do care is what is the event. And the event is they will invite you to come to the campus, and you can sleep in the dorm, eat in the cafeteria, sit in a class or two, and then do some different activities. If that is an option, please do that. For all three of my kids, they did go on the future student event, and that solidified, yes, this is the school that I want to attend. So they may send out a notification to all the students that they admitted. Hey, you've been admitted, hooray, we've got this future student event, come on out. And that will typically be before May 1st. And again, if that's an option, please do that. And then submit your deposit by May 1st, on or before May 1st. Typically, it's $250 to $1,000. Usually, it's around $350, $500 is what the deposit is. And submit your deposit to one college, please. If a college finds out that a student submitted a deposit to more than one school, could cause some problems and some headaches.
Question.
Yes?
How would they find out?
Depends if they're competitive schools or not. So they would find out if they're competitive schools.
Like
Harvard and Yale.
administrators talking to one another?
Yep.
Okay.
Administrators talking to one another and stuff like that. Yeah. I have a colleague who was in California, and a girl applied to Harvard and applied to Yale under the early decision heading for both of those schools.
Mm-hmm.
And those two administrators got together for a cup of coffee, for a beer, and were talking and go, hey, I got this girl, she's super awesome, naming all this criteria, and he goes, I have this same girl, is her name this? Yeah. And Harvard rejected her after that, after they found out. They completely rejected her. And then Yale said, hey, we found out about this. No, you can't do that. We're going to allow you to come to our school, not this year, but next year. Okay. So let's talk about what to bring to college.
Excuse me, before you get on that,
Yeah.
you said if it's a good award letter, then don't appeal it. So what's a good award letter? How can you tell what's good? Like, is there a certain percentage that's considered?
Not necessarily not a good award letter isn't necessarily a percentage. If they're offering X dollars and you're willing to spend whatever to go to college, and whatever you're willing to spend is less than what you're willing to spend is, and your actual sticker price is less, then that's a good award letter. Okay? So just each college is going to be a little bit different with that. When you do get all of your award letters, give me a call. We'll schedule an appointment. We'll talk about which ones are good, which ones aren't, and then ultimately make a decision. So what to bring to college? Clothes hangers, Ethernet cable, extension cords, power cords, can opener, silverware. With silverware, you can borrow or acquire some from the cafeteria, or you can bring your own. Please do bring some business attire, a dress or a suit or something like that, because there might be some formal banquet or some interview or something like that, and you want to be able to dress nice for that. Vitamins, air freshener, because who knows if your roommate's going to actually take a shower the entire semester or not. And then vitamins. Please bring some vitamins and take some vitamins, because when you go to college, you're going to be in a whole new environment with a whole new bunch of germs and bacteria and all that stuff. And sure enough, the freshman class, usually half of the freshman class gets sick sometime in the fall semester. because you're just in that whole new environment and all that stuff. If you take a bunch of vitamins and stuff, you could get through it a lot faster, or probably even alleviate it. Coat hangers and clothes hangers. Bring lots of those, especially if you are an entrepreneuring person. If you bring a whole bunch of clothes hangers, someone on your dorm floor is going to forget that. And you could sell them for 50 cents or $1 each. Okay? Bring an Ethernet cable. The reason why I say bring an Ethernet cable is because a lot of the dorms do have Wi-Fi, but it may or may not be strong enough or powerful enough wherever you are. At my daughter's dorm, her desk was in the corner, and so she put her laptop on there, and it wouldn't connect. If she moved it just a little bit, it would connect every once in a while. And right there, it was about 2.5 feet short of the actual Ethernet cable that we had. Because usually the Ethernet port's on this side of the room and your desk is on that side of the room. Okay? So get a long Ethernet cable. Bring a George Foreman grill, water pitcher, something like that, some board games. Here's my disclaimer. I do not own any George Foreman stock. Okay? But I love the George Foreman grill. You'll need to ask the college if that is something that is acceptable to bring into the dorm room. The open hot plates and things like that, or any open flame, they don't want those types of things. But sometimes they'll allow the George Foreman grill. What I love about the George Foreman grill is it is the best thing to reheat French fries. And they come out nice and crispy and stuff. Okay? You can cook just about anything on there. Steaks and grilled cheese. Reheat something from the cafeteria. And that. The only thing that I can't think of how to do on George Foreman would be an egg. But other than that, you can cook just about anything on there. You may want to check the school to see how their water is. Some colleges, the water is kind of poor. Some of it's pretty good. With one of my daughters, the school, the water in there was not very good. And my son at his school, the water is just great. It's like comes out of a fresh spring well or something, piped right into his room. Also, consider bringing some board games or Uno. Everybody knows what Uno is, right? Okay, because it might be a snowy day or a rainy day, and everybody's kind of stuck in their dorm room, and you could pull out a board game or a deck of Uno cards, and start something going on, and be able to build some friendships and stuff. Uno was one of the very popular games when I was in college. Still is a very popular game today. And one of my dorm mates, Paul, he was a notorious cheater. One of the rules that we play is we call it consecutive. So if you lay down a draw 2 and the next person lays down a draw 2, then the next person has to draw 4. Or if he lays down a draw 2, then 6, etc., etc., etc. So Paul was a notorious cheater. And we stacked the deck on him. So I laid down a draw 4, and Scott laid down a draw 4, Todd laid down a draw 4, Jen laid down a draw 4, boom, Paul was next. Draw 16. You guys cheated! Maybe. Don't bring everything that you own. Pack for the climate, please. Bring your personal toiletries, a toothbrush, stuff like that, because your roommate will be very appreciative if you bring a toothbrush and use it. Bedding and blankets and stuff. In June or July, keep an eye out for some sales. Usually around that time frame is when they're going to have various back to college sales. When you're looking at buying some sheets, make sure that the sheets that you buy fit the bunk or the dorm room bed at your dorm. Because some of them are extra long twin, some of them are standard twin. You want to make sure you're getting the proper sheets for that. And pack for the climate. When my daughter went to Seattle to go to college, we went shopping here in Arizona, bought her some nice jackets and some stuff to keep her warm, and all of that stuff would have kept her warm here in Arizona. None of that stuff kept her warm in Seattle. So she ended up having to shop in that local area, in that climate, to buy some things that will keep her warm in that area. So instead of spending all your money and stuff on a new wardrobe in Arizona, especially if you're going to a cold climate, you may want to save that money and buy stuff that will really keep you warm in that climate. Okay? You probably don't need 10 pairs of shorts if you're heading up to snowy country. And that. Keep an eye out for some sales. Don't bring these things: cinder blocks, pets, your entire DVD collection, and space heaters. One of the popular items for college decorations was cinder blocks, a couple cinder blocks and a couple 2x4s. You got a nice shelf. And that colleges do not look favorably upon cinder blocks, because what happens at the end of the semester or the end of the school year, all those cinder blocks get thrown out into the dumpster. When the garbage guy comes by and picks up that dumpster and finds out that, oh, this is overweight, they're going to charge the college extra for that. And if they catch you throwing heavy stuff into the dumpster, like cinder blocks, you will get a bill. Okay? Some colleges allow pets, dogs and cats and stuff like that. Most colleges do not. Some colleges will allow goldfish or other types of fish and that. My dorm mate, Paul, he had a fish tank. And he had several different types of fish in there. He had a green terror, he had an Oscar, and I can't remember what the others were. The green terror and the Oscar, those are more vicious than piranha. And every Friday it was feeding frenzy night. And during the whole week, Paul would walk around and go, "Hey, it's feeding frenzy Friday at 7 o'clock. Come out to my dorm. We're going to feed the fish some goldfish. And if you want to come, give me $1 or $5 so I can go buy some goldfish." And he'd make like 20 or 30 bucks, and go buy $5 or $10 worth of goldfish and pocket the rest of the money. And then we'd throw the goldfish in there, and it was quite entertaining. I do not condone violence.
I'm curious about Paul. He was a cheater, and he was.
He was a character. He was a character. Yeah. In your book is dormroommovers.com. I did meet the owners of this company. They're down in Tempe. Really great bunch of guys. What's awesome about this company is they will, you log onto their website, create an account, and they'll mail you some empty boxes. You fill up those boxes, they'll come by, pick it up, and drop it off at your dorm. Okay? Or when you move out, they'll pick it up from your dorm room and ship it back to your house. So it's super awesome for that. If you're thinking about study abroad, keep these guys in mind, because what they will do is they can come by your dorm, pick up all your stuff, keep it in storage while you're in England, Germany, or wherever, and then when you come back to college, they'll ship it back to your dorm room. Okay? Stop. Before you continue, please do not do anything stupid. Don't get arrested. Don't drink alcohol underage. Don't drive under the influence. Don't post anything on Instagram or social media that will come back and haunt you. And avoid Mexico during spring break. Okay. One of the fastest ways to lose a scholarship is to have a felony. So be aware of that. Don't do anything. Okay. And avoid Mexico during spring break. Most of you have met my wife Jennifer. She was the one that greeted you when you walked in. She also helped everybody with the essays and all that stuff. I met her in college. And we were at Biola University in Los Angeles. Her brother was at University of Arizona in Tucson. And he called her up on the phone, "Hey, why don't you come out and visit me?" And she said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." So she drove out and hung out with her brother for a long weekend. Right before Jen went out to visit with her brother, her brother's dorm mates all said, "Hey, it's a long 3-day weekend. We're all going to go to Mexico. You want to go? Let's go." And he said, "Nah, I'm not going to go because my sister's coming and she's going to come and visit me." And good thing he didn't go, because the local Mexicans do not take kindly to intoxicated college students. They all got beat up severely. So please avoid Mexico during spring break. And wait for it. Beware of senioritis. We're all in the same boat. Okay? Don't worry. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of freshman students that are in the exact same boat as you. Don't stress out too much, because you're all going to be in that same situation of, I don't know what to expect, I don't know where to go, all that. It's a whole new environment. After you've been there for a couple weeks or a month or so, it's going to be old hat. You'll know exactly where everything is and everything. So what do? Plug in. Almost every college requires students to live on campus their freshman year. The reason why they want you to live on campus the freshman year, and sometimes even the sophomore year, is because they know that students who live on campus are going to go to an event. They're going to go to a football or a basketball game, go to the ice cream social, go to bingo night or something like that, meet other students and make friends. And they want you to make a friend or two in college, because if you have a friend or two in school, you're going to feel comfortable, you're going to stay there, and eventually you'll matriculate and graduate. Now that's what they want, is they want you to graduate. So colleges want you to go to different functions and that. When you go, know that all these other freshmen are there, and they're going to be in the same situation. Some of them are going to be scared, not knowing what to expect and all that, and that might be you as well. Step out of your comfort zone and make an effort to meet 2 or 3 people per day for the first week or two. When you walk into the cafeteria, if you see somebody who's sitting alone, go up and sit with that person. Hey, I'm JD. What's your name? What's your major? I'm from this part of town. Where are you from? And that. And who knows? You might be able to make a lifelong friend. One of the really cool serendipities of college is making lifelong friends. And my roommate Todd and I are still really great friends today. I was just up and visited him up in Idaho in January, just a couple months ago. So make an effort to meet other students. Kids drop out of college for a variety of reasons. One reason is they're lonely and don't have any friends. That can be avoided by you stepping out of your comfort zone and saying hello. So I want to tell you a story about Nick. Nick's mom called me on the phone and said, "Hey, could you talk to Nick?" "Sure, what's going on?" Called him up, and it was the winter break between his freshman fall semester and freshman spring semester. And it was mid-January before he goes back to school. And I talked to him on the phone. He says, "JD, I don't know if I made the right decision." Take a deep breath, relax. Everybody has that same concern. "I don't know if I made the right decision." Asked him a few questions. "How are your grades?" Grades were fine. "I don't know if I made the right decision. Maybe I should go to the community college next semester. Maybe I should go to ASU. I don't know if I made the right decision." After talking with him for a few minutes, I figured out what's going on. I know what's going on. And what was happening was he was in his dorm room. He would go to his classroom, go to the cafeteria, go back to his dorm room. That little triangle right there, and that was it. I said, "Nick, here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to go back to the college for the spring semester. Continue with your grades, definitely maintain your grades, and then after that spring semester, let's have a conversation, let's reevaluate that time. Your job is 2 things. Keep your grades up, yes, and second, get involved. Join a club, start a club, do something." He agreed to do that. Called him up in June, "How's it going?" "Love the school, best school ever." He graduated from that college last May. Okay, so please plug in and get involved. We're going to start off college right by seeking out guidance and mentors. Another reason kids drop out of school is they don't have any guidance or don't have any mentors. If you plug into the system and actively seek out help from upperclassmen, from professors, from admission staff, anybody else that can help you. Upperclassmen can tell you which professors to take and which ones to avoid. You can also check out the website ratemyprofessors.com, which is a fantastic website. When my daughter was looking at taking a calculus class, there was 2 professors that were offering the calculus class at her college, and she logged on to Rate My Professors and found that one professor had a very low rating, the other professor had a very high rating. She ended up taking it with the high-rated professor, had a great time, learned a lot, was really interactive, and ended up getting a good grade in that class. So you can check out ratemyprofessors.com. Start off college right by signing up for the first freshman orientation. After you send in your deposit, which will be May 1st, on or before May 1st, sometime after that they will send out a notification of the different orientation dates. And there may be 2 or 3 different dates to choose from. Please choose the earliest available. The reason why I want you to do that is because if you get the earliest available, you could get into some classes before they are filled, before they get filled. Okay? On that note, always sign up for classes at your first earliest convenience so that you can get into those classes that you need to get into in order to graduate. So if you get a notification that says on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, you have to sign up for these classes sometime between 8 and noon, please get up at before 8, sign up for those classes, and then go back to bed. Okay? So please sign up for your first available classes and also sign up for your first orientation. And don't sign up for a 7 a.m. philosophy class. Okay? I'll tell you that story later. Start off college right by checking out the website bigwords.com. This is a great website. You'll once you get your book list, your textbook list, that textbook list will list all the textbooks with the ISBN number. You go to the website, you'll type in the ISBN number there, and this website will search the internets and tell you on Amazon.com this book is $79. On buy.com it's $59. On this website it's $13.48. So that's what's awesome about the website is it will search all the different websites and tell you which one's the cheapest. When my daughter Kay was going into her second semester of her sophomore year, she got her book list, and had she ordered her books through the college, it would have cost $450. She went on to Big Words, and the total cost for her for that semester was $35. Outstanding. Okay. Now with that, some of the books you'll be able to purchase, some of them you'll be able to rent. If you are taking a history class and you are not a history major and you will never, ever, ever, ever open up that history book ever again, rent it. And that's what my daughter did, is she rented all of her books. She was an engineering major, so she purchased those books because she wanted to keep them on her shelf forever. A lot of colleges are moving towards digital mediums. Check to see if they require iPads, Kindles, or some other type of device like that. And then some of the books you can get on mobile media applications as well. Start college off right by going in with the attitude of I want to learn. Having the right mindset will position you for success. Tell yourself, I want to learn. What will I learn today? And when you walk into class, maybe you'll learn something from the professor. Maybe you'll learn something from one of the students there. Maybe you'll learn something just walking into class or walking to class. I don't know. But always go in with the attitude of I want to learn. A few years ago, I was watching a PBS special, and they were interviewing centurions, people that were 100 years old or older. And they wanted to know what the common denominator was for these people to live that long. Was it your diet? Did you eat fish and rice? Or, did you exercise? What was it? And the one common denominator was they kept their minds active by learning. One lady that they interviewed at age 75, she decided she wanted to learn a musical instrument. So she started, taking lessons and learned that. And then by the time she was in her mid-80s, she was starting to teach pupils how to play that instrument. Another person learned a foreign language, and that. I'm really impressed with my dad. He's a retired pediatrician, and a couple of years ago I was talking with him. What are you doing? I'm studying for the bar. I'm like, you're retired. Why? Because I want to learn. So keeping your brain active can help with longevity. So go in with the attitude of, I want to learn. Start college off right. Plan on working, even if your job is just being a student. Go to class, study, turn in your assignments. No one is there to make sure that you go to class. Parents aren't going to be there to make sure that you study. So you have to be self-motivated. You have to self-motivate yourself. Think of the end in mind. The end and the goal is to get a diploma. A lot of scholarships are lost because the student's GPA dropped below the renewal period, the renewal minimum. We want to avoid that by keeping on top of your grades and that. So start off college right by looking to join a study group. There are a lot of different study groups. Maybe you can put an ad on the bulletin or just talk to other students in your class. Hey, you want to form a study group? Or or you could talk to professors and teachers' aides and, hey, do you know of any study groups? And that. So college is learning, and learning more than just in the classroom. It also could be an outside discussion, outside the class. Could be labs, and could also be talking with the professors. One of my favorite professors in college, his name was Professor Craig, and every Thursday evening he had open office day. You can come into my office, whatever. And there was like 6 of us that would regularly go to his office on Thursday, and we go and we talk philosophy, or just talk or hang out or watch weird, stupid movies and all that. And there were 6 of us that were regular in there. Guess which 6 students got the best grade in his class? We did. Okay. Start college off by reading ahead and taking notes. If you need to, get a digital recorder, and you can record the professor's talks, and then you can go back to your dorm room and you can transpose that information. The tests may be assigned on the readings. So the professor might talk and lecture and go, we're having a quiz on Thursday and it's going to be on chapter 3, which he may or may not have even discussed in his lecture. One thing to do is to check out the ratemyprofessors.com website, look at the professors, and sometimes they'll state in there, professor lectures a lot, but all the tests are on the book. Create a relationship with professors and teachers' assistants. Talk with your TAs and your professors, see him or her during office hours, and cultivate that relationship. Not only can it help you get a better grade, but it could also open up some doors. I was talking with Professor Craig, and he says, hey, JD, I know of this internship that's coming up. You should go apply for it. And I did, and I got it. Okay? So they could help you out with future internships, jobs, careers, or maybe even some other opportunities and things like that. Just by keeping an open mind and by developing a relationship with those people. You can also ask for help or tips on exams and some study tips. Maybe talking with a professor on that, or talking with the teacher's assistants. There's some great ways to get some tips on getting better grades in your exams. Remember to ask other students what to expect. So in your booklet, Chapter 9, please review that. Get to know your college professors. Chapter 11, how to approach your college professor. Chapter 12, make a good impression on your college professor. Please read and review those at a later point. Start college off by staying balanced. De-stress when needed, but don't take the entire semester to de-stress. I had a student who went to New Mexico State, got an outstanding, incredible scholarship package. He finished up his freshman year with a 0.9 GPA. I'm like, 0.9. Did you show up to class? No. So go to class, please. Prepare mentally. Take the time to map out your semester. Write down all of your classes, all your class times, the dates of major assignments and exams and all that. Staying balanced includes proper time management. We'll discuss that in a few slides. On the first day of class, let's talk about what to expect. Please show up to class on the first day. If you apply for and try and get into a class and that class is full, here's how you can get into that class. Show up to that class 15 to 20 minutes before the class starts. Introduce yourself to the professor and say, if someone doesn't show up, please can you write my name on the roster list? And they'll do that. And I have a college professor as one of my clients, and she was telling me that if a student doesn't show up on the first day, they'll cross that student off of their list and assume that student is not going to be attending. So that is one way that you can get into a class and take someone else's spot. So on that note, please show up to class on the first day. On day one, typically it's an introductory to the class. Sometimes the professors jump right in and start lecturing, so be prepared for that. Sometimes they have different icebreakers. Hey, tell me your name, where'd you come from, stuff like that. So be prepared for stuff like that. Whatever your situation is, please be prepared to take notes and to learn on the first day. Also on the first day, they will hand you an outline or a syllabus. The syllabus has everything on it, and it will tell you on November 20th, that's when your term paper is due. If a college student walks in and talks with a professor and says, I didn't know that there's a term paper due, he'll say, did you look at the syllabus? So that's not an excuse that will fly in college. The syllabus outlines everything, things to study, chapters to read, other important dates for tests, midterms, finals, term papers, all that stuff is going to be on the syllabus. Also on the first day, take the time out to introduce yourself to the professor. I know it can be scary, but you are an adult now and they will treat you like an adult. If you're not 18 right now, you will be very shortly. And so when you go to college, every college will treat you as an adult. On the first day, be prepared. Be prepared by mapping out where each class is. Typically what happens is you can move into your dorm room usually a week or so before school actually starts. And please do that because they'll have different activities and some fun things to do, and you'll be able to meet other students and make some friends. Also during that time frame, you'll be able to map out exactly where each class is in each classroom and stuff. Usually all the science all the science classes are in one building, and the math classes are all in another building, and they may be on opposite ends of the campus. And if you're taking a 7 a.m. philosophy class, and you know that it takes you 10 minutes to walk there, you can't get up at 6:55 and make it on time. Okay? Time management. It's your time. It's your time when you're in college. Mom and dad won't be there to wake you up, make sure that you go to class, do your homework or any of that stuff. So be self-responsible. Get a calendar. It doesn't matter what type of calendar that you get, whether it be a paper calendar where you could write stuff down, or an electronic calendar. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you, just get one. And then put all your important stuff in there. If you're using an electronic calendar, make sure that your alarms are set for that. And write it down. Write everything down in one spot. Schedule some time to study. Schedule some time to party and relax. And also schedule some time to call your parents. And be flexible with your time. You may find out that night that, I didn't know it's your birthday. Well, surprise, it's my birthday tonight. And then you do something fun or something. So be flexible with stuff like that. Plan ahead. If there's a big research paper due the last week of the semester, backwards engineer and go, okay, if I know that this is going to be due on December 11th, on November 11th I should be this far, on October 11th I should be this far, etc., etc. Don't procrastinate, please. Put your big girl pants on and your big boy pants on and tell your friends, no, I'm sorry, I have to study. It's okay to tell them no. Because what is our end goal? Our end goal is to get a degree. When I was in college, one of the very popular places to study was Denny's because of two things. It was cheap. You get a cup of coffee for 50 cents or $1, and then you could get a piece of pie or something like that for $1 or $2. Or you could get the Grand Slam for like $1.99 when they had that sale. That was one reason we went there. The other reason we went there is because it was open 24 hours. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, not many people in there, and you could lay all your books out and study and stuff. And when you go and you order stuff, please leave a tip. Don't be like Paul and be stingy. Hey, JD, could you buy me a coffee? And then Paul not leave a tip at all. Yeah. And then schedule some downtime. Definitely want to schedule some downtime to relax and all that. Because on Friday at 2:30 p.m. at the end of the semester, everything's done. And you can schedule some time to hang out with your friends before you come back home and all that. Okay. And time management is being self-responsible. Being self-responsible because colleges will expect and treat you as an adult. Some professors don't care if you show up to class or not. They're going to get paid whether you show up and get an A or an F. Especially at a large college. ASU, some of their classroom seats 800 students. And if 40 or 50 students don't show up, he's not even going to know. And he doesn't even care because he's already gotten paid. So be self-responsible and have the attitude of, I want to learn. What will I learn today? So this is why you need to graduate in 4 years. We've got cost and unrealized cost. So let's do some math. ASU, the sticker price is $28,000 per year. So if we multiply that times 4 years, that's $112,000. If you multiply that times 5 years, that's $140,000, and 6 years, $168,000. So let's do the math. If we subtract 168 from 112, that's $56,000 more to attend ASU for 2 extra years. But that's not all. What about the unrealized cost? The unrealized cost is what you lost in a potential salary. The average starting salary in 2017 for college graduates was $50,556. And if a student took 2 years, that's 2 years of lost wages at $101,000, plus the 2 years that you have to pay extra for the college, $56,000. That's a grand total of $157,000. So please graduate in 4 years. What can you get for $150,000? You can get a 2005 Ferrari F40, F430, that one. I was online just a couple days ago looking at it, and it's like $110,000, which leaves you about $40,000 to pay for insurance. So you could cover all that. So you can buy a Ferrari, or you can buy a house. It's a 1991 3-bedroom, 2-bath home here in Phoenix. Okay, so graduate in 4 years, please. Think about the Ferrari. Graduate in 4 years by sticking with your major. Students who change their major will intend to push the graduation window further and further. So do some research now while you're still in high school with looking at your career and your potential occupation in the major that you're going to be studying in college. If you have questions on careers or anything like that, please give me a call. Let's schedule an appointment to talk about that stuff. Graduate in 4 years by signing up for classes at your earliest convenience. Some classes fill up fast because it's only offered once a year, or the professor is really an awesome professor. So sign up for classes at your earliest convenience. My daughter attended St. Martin's University up in the Seattle area, and one of the professors taught a class, and the title of the class was The History of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Ooh, that sounds kind of cool and interesting. And it was. It was a very, very popular class. By the time she went to sign up for the class, it was full. The unfortunate thing is that he did not offer that class every year. He offered it every 2 years. So she was unable to take that class at all. Students should go in and see faculty and counselors early if they need to. If you're trying to get into a class and you really can't get into that class, talk to the professor, talk to your counselor, or maybe even go up the scale and talk to the dean or the principal of the school. Okay, they want you to graduate. They really do, because if you graduate, you make them look better. Okay. So go to class on the first day. Remember what I said earlier, that if a class is full, you could potentially nab a spot from a student who doesn't show up. Map out a 4-year game plan. When you meet with your counselor should give you a 4-year game plan of these are the classes you need to take fall freshman year, spring freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, etc., etc. I met with my counselor and she gave me the whole list of classes that I needed to take. And then somewhere around the middle of my junior year, they revamped that whole curriculum, and some of the classes were no longer being offered, and then they had a whole bunch of new classes that students needed to take in order to graduate. I'm like, I'm not taking freshman 101, that class. And I went in and I said, I still have my syllabus here with all the classes, and they agreed, and I didn't have to take those classes again. Okay. I would encourage you to meet with your college counselor at least once a semester, preferably twice a semester, at the beginning and the end of each semester. Mapping out what classes I need to take this semester, am I on track to graduate on time, all that stuff. Take summer school if needed. I know you don't want to go to summer school, but think about that Ferrari. Okay? Would you trade summer school for a Ferrari? I know I would. In some situations, you could take summer school classes at a community college. If you do that, you want to reach out to your college and verify that that class that I am taking, they will accept. Because if they're not going to accept it, then there's no reason to take it at that school. Graduate in 4 years by taking a full class load. 12 units is considered a full-time student. 12 units or 12 credits per semester will not graduate you in 4 years. When my middle daughter was setting up her class schedule, we were unable to go to orientation. I can't remember all the details. I said, no problem, just call the school up and schedule a time to talk with the counselor on the phone. They're going to tell you what classes you need to take, and you can sign up over the phone that way. Okay, so she did, and I'm dad pretending not to listening in the other room. And the conversation The conversation ended this way. Yeah, 12 units sounds good. Okay, thanks. Bye. Click. And I ran in there so fast and said, you need to call that person back right now and add a couple more classes because 12 units isn't enough. And she ended up, I can't remember how many it was. I think it was like 16 units of 2 extra classes on top of that. A couple months into her semester, she called me on the phone. Hey, Dad, thanks a lot for telling me to take those extra classes because I would have been bored. I've got so much free time, even taking those extra classes. She ended up taking 16 to 18 units every semester, and she ended up graduating in 3.5 years. Okay. My daughter, my oldest daughter, Caitlin, she took 16 to 18 units every semester and was a mechanical engineering major, and she graduated in 4 years, when most of her friends took 5 years to graduate. So you can graduate in 4 or less years. Graduate in 4 years. Be aware of the MRS degree. Okay? That's the Mrs. degree. Some students go to college specifically to meet your future spouse. It's called the MRS degree, or the Mrs. degree. I met Jennifer in college. That's fine. I want you to go to college, and fall in love, meet someone, get married, and all that stuff. That's great. Yeah, but first, graduate. Okay. What I told my daughter was, he's a great guy and all that stuff, but first you've got to graduate. And she graduated in 3.5 years, and a couple months later got married. So when a student gets married in college, what happens with some of those students is they end up dropping out of college. As soon as a student drops out of college, within 30 days, they will get a letter from the loan company that says your first loan payment is now due. Pay it. And if they've got a job working at Starbucks making $9 an hour, and they gotta pay for an apartment on top of all that, and God forbid we actually have to buy food, and then getting that $300 student loan payment on top of that, it's going to cause a lot of pain. So please graduate. On that note, have a graduation date and goal. So for those of you seniors in here, when will you graduate? It will be May or June of what year?
4th year.
Oh yeah, are you talking about? Oh, I thought you were talking about in college. Sorry.
Yeah, in college.
Oh yeah, 22.
Okay, so I want you to write this down. Please write it down. I will graduate college in May or June of 2022. Write that down. There's something magical that happens when you actually write that down and then stick with that plan. Even if you go to a college that has a low 4-year graduation rate, you can still graduate in 4 years on time. By sticking with your plan, taking the appropriate class loads, and all that. And graduate in 4 years by going to class on the first day. So let's talk about getting into your career quick. You want to focus on the graduation goal. We're going to graduate in May or June of 2022. And map that out. Students fail to graduate on time because they failed to plan. Students who do not create a graduation goal plan will take longer to graduate. While you are in college, look for internships. You don't have to wait until your senior year of college to look for internships. I would encourage you to start looking right away. And by meeting the professors and developing relationships with the professors, they may be able to point you in the direction of, hey, this internship or this opportunity is available. Also use your career center at the college. Speak with your professors, talk with your counselors. They can offer some ideas. The career center at some colleges is really awesome with helping students get jobs and all that stuff. when you talk with your professors and you talk with your counselor, bring a notepad so you can take notes, or bring like an electronic device that you can record it. And you pull it out and go, hey, is it okay if I record our conversation? The reason why I want to record it instead of taking notes is I want to be able to pay more attention with you, and then I'll be able to go home and I'll transpose those into notes at a later point. If you do that, they will be very impressed. How many students actually do that? It's probably in the single digits, 1, 2, 3% of students that actually do that, maybe even less. That might impress them enough to give you some really hot tips. Get into your career quick by starting your job search at the beginning of your senior year. What most students do is they receive their diploma, walk across stage, yeah, I got my diploma, yay. And then they immediately go to Europe for a 6-month backpacking trip, because that would be super cool, or 4 months. And then they come back, and then they realize that they have 2 months on that clock, and those student loans are going to start wanting a payment from that. And now they have to scramble and try and get a job really quick. If you start early at the beginning of your senior year of looking for a job, you don't have to take the first thing that comes along. And when they offer you a job, they're going to know that you are going to be graduating in a few months. And just say, hey, I'm going to be graduating in May. After that, I'll be able to work for you guys and stuff. Okay? Starting early can give you options. Let's talk about your parents. Please remember your parents. Remember your parents, especially if you're the oldest one that's going to be going away to college. They spent the last 18 years with you. They will miss you. And when my oldest daughter went away to college, I missed her tremendously. I would just find myself walking into her bedroom. Oh, why am I here? And out. By the time my third kid went away to college, we're like, woo! But with the first one, it's definitely a challenge for parents. So please, students, remember your parents on that. Yes, it's your time to grow and fly and be free, but please remember them. When you're in college, schedule some times to call your parents. With the advent of Skype and FaceTime, they can see your pretty face whenever they want. So do schedule some time to call them. And when you call your parents, students, when you call them, don't ask for money every time. Okay? If you're having a difficult time communicating or talking with your parents, as you go through your school week, write down some different things that happen. Oh, we went over to Professor Craig's office and we watched Freaks. That was a weird movie. Paul totally cheated on Uno again, but we caught him. And feeding frenzy night. And, write down some little different things that happen and stuff, so that you can have some talking points when you call your parents at a later point. Remember your parents during school breaks. If you're going to school far away, you may not be able to come home for Thanksgiving. With my daughter up in Seattle, and the airline ticket of $900 for one way, we said, no, you're not coming home for Thanksgiving. So it may be the winter or the Christmas break before you actually see your parents again. Okay? And when you do come home, whether it be for the shorter breaks or for the long winter break, spend some time with your parents. Schedule some time, go out to dinner with them, do something. I want to tell you a story about Virginia. She was in school in New York. And because she was in New York, she couldn't come home for the Thanksgiving break. And when she came home for the winter break, she was home for about a month. The very first day that she was home, she told her parents, I need the car keys because me and my friends are going to go up to Flagstaff and go snowboarding tomorrow. Can I have them, please? Yes, go snowboarding and skiing and whatever and hang out with your friends and stuff. That's fine, but please also schedule some time with your parents. when you go to college, the college will treat you as an adult. Because you are an adult, your parents will not have access to any of your information. Mom and dad, if you call the college up and say, hey, how's Junior doing? Can you tell me what grades he has? Are they in the hospital? They won't tell you anything. They will say, I'm sorry, that is confidential information. We are not allowed to give you that information. What I did with my daughters was I said, we're paying for college for you. And you will give us your passcode. So we were able to go on there and log in and see what their grades are and all that stuff. With my son, he was kind of stingy about it. And he wouldn't give us his password. So I said, you're going to sign this affidavit that says you allow us to get information from the college. He kind of balked at it for a moment and said, you could pay for the entire amount of college yourself, or you could sign this. And he signed it. So every college does have an affidavit form which allows parents to get information about your student, grades, health, whatever other information that you're asking for. So colleges will treat you as an adult, and you are responsible for you. And give thanks where thanks is due. Remember to thank your parents, your relatives, pastors, priests, rabbis, teachers, and other counselors who have helped you get this far. A simple little sincere thank you will go a long way. It doesn't matter who you are, it's going to happen. When you go to college, at some point you're going to feel homesick. That's fine. The worst thing that you can do is to go and hibernate in your dorm room. Please go out, plug in, join an activity, do something. Okay? Give your parents a call. Get involved in that. Okay? All right, let's talk about some miscellaneous stuff. In the back of your book are some additional websites, collegeroommates.net, residentassistant.com. Some good information are on those websites. When you move into your dorm during the winter break, you don't have to vacate your room. You can leave all your stuff there, but don't leave your valuables. Don't leave your computer or anything like that. Bring those home. When you vacate, or when it is the end of the semester, not the semester, the end of the school year, you are required to vacate your room. At that point, you'll need to take everything out. If you leave anything in your room during the summer break, they will throw it out. I was at a garage sale, and I found this chair. It was a super awesome, super comfortable chair. It was slanted in such a way that you could just sit in and just fall asleep. It was super comfortable. I found that, brought it to college my freshman year, and then when I went home for the summer break, that chair wouldn't fit in my 1977 Honda Civic. So I had to leave it there. What I ended up doing was I ended up taking it up to the Student Union building, and I just left it in there. When I came back the sophomore year, I ran in there as fast as I could. There's my chair! I grabbed it and I brought it back to my dorm room. The end of my sophomore year, I did the same thing, threw it in the Student Union building, and came back at the end of my junior year, and it was gone. I was heartbroken. Okay? So you will need to vacate your dorm room at the end of the school year. Dorm room movers, again, that's another company that can help you move your stuff around and all that. Okay. When you move in to your dorm room, one of the first, or maybe even the very first person that you meet is going to be your resident advisor, also called an RA. That person is the manager of your floor. They're typically a student, and they'll be the person who gives out the instructions. We got a curfew at 11 o'clock, but if you're going to be past 11 o'clock, give me a call or whatever. They'll tell you what all the rules are of the dorm, and don't blow up anything, don't have any open flames, no flame shooters, anything like that. So the resident advisor is going to be the first person that you talk to and stuff. Question?
I heard someone say that they're already searching for roommates or through social media or for something like that, so that they can find the roommate they want. And I wonder if you have any info on that.
Yeah, to find a roommate, when you apply to a college, hopefully the email address that you put in there is an email that you control. If you are if you use a school issued email address like PD Learners or Brophy, Broncos.net or whatever, any school issued email address, when you graduate, they're going to turn that email off. After you mail in your deposit, sometime in June, they're going to send out an email that has a link to fill out. I hate country music. I love this. I get up early. I don't get up early. Blah blah blah. You'll fill out that form, and that will help you get potentially get a roommate that way. So there's that. Okay. Through social media, sure, there's some options that are available with that. With that, when you send in your deposit, they'll tell you about a Facebook page that you can connect to and potentially meet your future roommate that way or something. So there's different options. The college will definitely instruct you on how to get your roommate. If you are thinking about renting an apartment or a house, awesome, cool. Well, we want to do the math on it. We want to determine if it's going to be cheaper to live in the dorm or if it's going to be cheaper to get an apartment or rent a house. Sometimes one is cheaper than the other. Depending on where the college is located can also determine as to what the cost is to rent an apartment or a house. When Virginia came home from her school in New York, she announced to her parents, "I want to get an apartment in Manhattan with 18 of my closest friends, a nice tiny little studio," and that. At Willamette University in Salem, Oregon, if you look at the stats there, it's like high 90% of students freshman year live on campus. And then the subsequent years, it drops to like 20-25%. You go, well, why is that? Because it's cheaper to rent an apartment or rent a house in Salem than it is to live in a dorm there. So sometimes it's cheaper to go off campus, sometimes it's not. Each school is going to be a little bit different depending on the location. If you decide that you're going to rent an apartment or a house, everybody needs to sign the agreement. When my brother was in college at Gallaudet, he and 4 other people rented a house, and one of them did not sign the agreement, and that person bailed. Now all 3 of them now have to split it 3 ways instead of 4 ways. So make sure that everybody signs it. Because if they bail, then they're still liable. Student loans and parent loans, you will need your FSA IDs and your FSA passwords if you're going to accept any federal student loans. You'll also need it to accept the Parent Plus loan as well. If you're going to accept the loans, please do that the first week of July, because it does take about 30 days for it to go through underwriting. We want to make sure all that stuff is ready and clears so that when you start college in August or September, all the paperwork is done so you don't have any headaches. Understand this, that some of the loan salespeople can be very pushy, because if you accept a loan, they could get a commission. So because of that, they could be very aggressive. Just be forewarned of that. If they are directing you to any type of specific loan other than the federal loan, that is illegal. They cannot do that. Okay. When you go to college, beware of credit card offers. Sometimes a credit card company will come onto the campus and say, "Hey, if you fill out this credit card form, we will give you a teddy bear, or we'll give you free pizza or movie tickets or whatever." So they'll try and entice students to sign up for that. if you sign up for a credit card, make sure you have the money to pay it off. I got my first credit card, and my then girlfriend Jennifer and I went out to dinner, and Dawn and Donna also went out to dinner with us, and the bill came out. We had a very nice dinner, and the dinner came out to like $110. This is like 30 years ago, okay? I'll pay for it. Got my credit card, slide it in there, done. 30 days later, I got my bill, $110. So be aware if you charge anything that you can pay it off. When you fill out those credit card forms, they will ask you for information. They're going to ask you for your full name, your address, your date of birth, and your social security number. If they have those things, that is potential identity theft. Be very cautious of who you give your social security number to. There was a college, I forget which college it was, I saw an article, and a credit card company came to the college and was having these free pizza offers and had literally hundreds of students fill out this credit card information. And whoever was taking that information and handing out the free coupons for pizza took all of those and decided, I don't want to give them back to the credit card company, threw them in the trash. Somebody dug through the trash, found all that information, and there was a lot of identity theft that happened from that. So be cautious of who you give your social security number to. You can look for some private scholarships. In the back of your book are several reputable college search scholarship websites. FastWeb and scholarships.com are two of the best ones. If you're at a scholarship search engine and they're asking you for money, hey, give us 50 or $100 and we'll tell you which scholarships you qualify for, that's a scam. FastWeb and scholarships.com, there is no fee for it. What they will ask you for is your email address, and they will sell your email address. A few years ago, I went on to FastWeb, and I just wanted to fill it out to see what was being offered and what I would get. And I filled it out as if I was still in high school. And one of the questions was, are you an athlete? Well, yeah, I'm an athlete. I played soccer and all that. Yes. The very next day, I got an email from Foot Locker. Hey, do you need some soccer cleats? 'Cause we got some on sale now. So they will sell your email address. On that note, go to Yahoo or Gmail, create a second account, and use that one for your scholarship search engine. If you apply for one private scholarship, good luck. If you apply for 40 or 50, you have a better chance of winning. Okay. Some other miscellaneous stuff is send in your accolades. Remember to let the college know of any new accolades that you've received. A quick little email about how you got promoted at your job or something like that. Dear Mr. Recruiter, I just want to let you know that I was selected 6 out of 50 for the improv showcase. Sincerely, Sally, student. And there might be an improv scholarship that you could have won, but they wouldn't have known about unless you told them about it. So we want to let them know of any new accolades that you get. So let's talk about some secret stuff. I call it returned money. Every college admits more students than the actual number of students that attend. So most of you in here have applied to 4 or 5, maybe 10 colleges, and you are admitted to those 4, 5, or 10 schools. You can only attend one. The other 9 you can't attend. And what will happen with those let's say we were going to a college, you apply to that school, you're admitted, your friend applies to that college and is also admitted, but decides, I'm not going to go to that school for whatever reason, and goes to another school. Well, if that student had some scholarship money attached to them, that money comes back to the college. And if we ask at the right time, we could get that money. During the month of May is when the colleges are calculating out who's coming, who's not, what money's going out, and what money is coming back. And they're figuring out, oh, all this money is coming back in the month of May. So the best time to ask for money is the first week of June. call them up on the phone and say, hey, is there any extra scholarships or grants that I could qualify for? And if they got that pile of money on their desk, and some of that money is mandated that they must spend it, and you ask at the right time, you could get it. The person who should do that is going to be the parent. The parent is the one that asks for that return money. Call them on the phone or visit the college, ask if there's any extra funds, extra scholarships, or anything else. Some additional ways to get some money is the first week of school, you, the student, go into the financial aid department and ask if there's any extra money left over. Is there any scholarships or grants that I could have? There's that one student that applied, mailed in his deposit and all that stuff, and never shows up. And if we happen to walk in at that time, we could potentially get that. Hold that thought for a second. There was, I can't remember which school it was back east somewhere, that if the student walked into the financial aid office and simply asked, is there any extra scholarship or grant money, that college would automatically give them $5,000. Okay? So it can't hurt to ask. You won't get if you don't ask. Your question?
Does that apply also to returning college students?
Yeah, absolutely. With a student who's coming back, the sophomore, junior, the senior year, yeah, you can definitely go back and ask. I have a student. There was some complications that happened with the financial aid form, whatever. And this was I can't remember if it was sophomore or junior year. And Dad and I were having a conversation about it. I'm like, oh, this is definitely wrong. There's got to be a clerical error on the college's part. Go down there and talk with them. And while you're there, just ask if there's any extra money. And it was the first week of December when he went down there and tried to get that whole thing corrected and stuff. And they ended up correcting it. And while he was in the financial aid office, he says, is there any extra scholarships or grants? And they're like, you know what? We got an extra $1,000. You want it? Yeah. So we got a couple extra bucks that way. Some other ways to get some secret money is being a resident advisor, an RA. As an RA, what that person gets is they get their dorm room paid for. And in some cases, that can be $10,000 to $15,000, your dorm room and your meal ticket paid for. At some colleges, it's very competitive to become an RA. At other colleges, it's not quite so competitive. So if that is something that you are interested in doing, you cannot be an RA your freshman year. You can your sophomore, junior, and senior year. You have to live in the dorm at least 1 year before you apply for that position. If you're thinking about it, when you are a freshman, make friends with your RA. Make friends with other RAs on other floors and other dorms. Ask them, how did you become one? What do I have to do to be selected as an RA? And then do that. Other ways to get some secret money is to join academic clubs. So when Susanna was in college, she joined the biology club. And she applied for a leadership position and was selected secretary of the biology club. After talking with her for a bit, I asked her, well, why? Why did you do that? She says, well, first off, I'm a biology major. And the reason why I selected secretary was that as a secretary, they were going to give me $1,000. And it was the least amount of work for the most amount of pay. Okay. Like, oh, awesome. So you can look at joining various different academic clubs, and some of those leadership positions are paid. I've got another student who had a full tuition scholarship at Chapman. The only thing that his parents had to pay for was his dorm room, meal ticket, books, and some other incidentals and stuff. In his junior year, he applied for and was elected vice president of the student body. As VP, that came with $16,000. That covered everything. So his junior year was free college. So you can look for those types of positions as well. Also look for jobs in the financial aid department. See what scholarships you could, that aren't claimed that you could get this year, or scholarships that you could apply for next year. Consider being a lab assistant, even if you are not a chemistry or a biology major, because you could get some money with that. Also consider joining choir or maybe pep band. You don't have to be a music major to get a music scholarship. You could be involved in choir and maybe get a choir music scholarship just for, singing and stuff like that. I've got a few students who are in the pep band, and with pep band they pay them $2,000-3,000, show up at a football game, so they go to the football games for free, and they get the best seats because they're right there, and they get to blow their horn and play their trumpet and all that stuff, and get paid to do that. Okay. I've got another student at ASU. He was elected health director for his dorm. And as health director, he talked to students about eating right, making sure you get enough sleep and don't do any weird stuff where you can track weird diseases. That was his job. And that gave him I can't remember how much it was, $2,000 or $3,000, just to talk to other students about health and safety issues in that. Had another student also at ASU, and I can't remember the title of his job. It was something like dorm coordinator or something like that. What his job was, it was to tell the other students in his dorm about the different activities and the different sporting events that were coming up. Everybody knows there's a big football game coming up on Friday, but did you know we got a curling team? They got a game Wednesday night. Or, hey, why don't you come out and root for our tennis team? And that paid for his dorm for that year. So what I want you to do when you go to college is I want you to keep your eyes and your ears open for different things that come up. Be intentional. Be intentional with your graduation goal. I will graduate in May of 2022. Write that down. Be intentional with your college grades. Some scholarships are lost because the minimum GPA was not achieved. Be intentional with meeting new people, professors, and students. Plug into the system. Be intentional with landing internships. Start on the first day of class with looking for that stuff. So let the adventure begin. Go to college. Create a 4-year graduation plan. Learn, grow, have fun, reach out to other students around you, and make friends. And please, drop me a note every once in a while. I really do care about all of you. And I like to know what's going on in your life. So send me an email or a note or something. Just let me know what's going on. And when you let me know that stuff, then I can brag and boast about you. One girl, Nicole, she graduated from Syracuse University, and as a 22-year-old, while she was in college, she got some different internships and started her search for a job at the beginning of her senior year. Landed a job as a 22-year-old doing working at a pharmaceutical company doing research, making $70,000 a year. Outstanding. Okay. I can't tell other people about awesome stuff like that unless you let me know. So please let me know. Okay. Contact me after you receive all of your award letters. Schedule a time and we'll discuss your award letters and see if we need to appeal and negotiate and help you select your college. If you're selected for review, I will give you instructions on what to do. If you are not selected for review, do nothing. May 1st, we're going to send in our deposit, and then for the other colleges, we're going to do nothing. There's an article that I saw in the New York Times that says, when colleges dangle money to lure students who ignore them. There are going to be some colleges that reach back out to you in mid to late May, maybe even June, maybe even later. Hey, we haven't heard from you. Do you want to come to our school? We'll give you a couple extra bucks.
At some point, do you reach out to the colleges and tell them thank you and no thank you?
We're not going to do that.
So you never have to do that?
We're not going to do that. We're gonna leave it open so that we can try and squeeze some more dollars out of them.
So just never do that?
Trust but verify. Check your application status. Do they have everything? If not, provide them with whatever they need. Got questions? All right. Thank you for coming. We're going to stop the recording. And the okay. If you do have questions, please give me a call. When you do get your award letters, give me a call. We'll schedule an appointment to discuss those. And have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.